On today's program, we'll show you how to dive into our data and drive customer engagement with VisualGPS Insights, 3 resources every premium access customer should know about, and answer your questions live on air. Premium Access Live, brought to you by The Download, starts now. Hi, I'm Jennifer Kelly, Customer Success Manager here at Getty Images, and I'm so pleased to welcome you all back to Premium Access Live, our quarterly review of what your Getty Images plan has to offer, from the latest product news to tips and tricks and so much more. While some portions of today's program have been pre-recorded, we're live in the chat, so drop your questions and your comments below and we'll answer them throughout the show. Before we get started, let's take a quick poll and see who's joining us today. While you're all filling that out, let me tell you a little bit about Getty Images music. It's powered by Epidemic Sound, where you'll find all the music you hear from today's program. With over 30,000 royalty-free music tracks and 60,000 sound effects ready to use for nearly any project, Getty Images music is a great addition to your Premium Access subscription. As a matter of fact, you might already have access to it. Speak to your Getty Images representative to learn more about that. When our award-winning VisualGPS program launched more than 2 years ago, we set out to build on our more than 25 years of expertise by researching and reporting on real consumer-driven insights that help you, the customer, navigate the crowded visual landscape and have impact. And now we've made it even more robust with VisualGPS Insights, an interactive tool that includes trends, search data, visuals, and infographics that will help you make smarter visual content choices. Let's take a look.
In a world of non-stop visual messaging, how do you reach your target audience, grab their attention, drive deeper engagement, and move your customers to action? Introducing VisualGPS Insights, an interactive tool that surfaces regionally relevant and industry-shaping visual trends. With exclusive search data, visual concepts, and easy-to-understand infographics, you'll find the actionable insights that fuel new ideas and get you out in front of what comes next. Unlocking our data, you can spark creativity and find those ideas that move your customers to act. Explore new visual concepts to engage your audience in ways you never considered, and make a case for a brilliant idea, validating your creative strategy. Free to access and fun to use, your creative process is about to get smarter with VisualGPS Insights. Try it today.
Joining us today to show you how VisualGPS Insights works is our Senior Director of Product Management, Candace Marks. Welcome, Candace. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Jennifer, happy to be here.
Now, Candace, you have been living and breathing everything VisualGPS Insights throughout its development, so I couldn't think of anyone better to share why customers need it, how it works, and how it fits into a premium access workflow.
Awesome. I'm super excited to show it to you. But first, let's start with what problem are we solving? Why do customers need this? So we hear in research that customers have a hard time making decisions about content absent data and insights. So today, we're putting 2.5 billion searches per year and 750,000 customers globally at your fingertips to understand what the trends are around key concepts, so we can understand what's trending right now, what's interesting for a particular region, and what's interesting in your industry. And with access to that data, you can make quick and easy decisions around, do I want to lean into a trend or do I potentially want to differentiate? So let's get started. I'm super excited to share. I'm going to share my screen now. Cool. So here we are on gettyimages.com, and you will see that I am logged in as myself with my PA account. If you are logged in, you'll have easy access with one click to VisualGPS Insights. If you are not logged in, you can just use your standard Getty Images credentials, and that will work to get you access to the tool.
This tool is a free resource, right? All this research, all this time and energy that's gone into this data is free for all Premium Access users, right?
Free for all Premium Access users and anyone who has an account. So as long as you've got an account and you've got credentials, you're in. So I'm just going to take you through real quick. I'll give you sort of an orientation of the landing page, and then feel free to interject with any questions you may have.
Perfect.
So from the top, we've got 3 entry points. First, enter a term, any term. If it doesn't show up, it just means that it's not that interesting right now. So our customers aren't searching for it. We've got access to inspiration pills, and these inspiration pills are pulled from VisualGPS research. So we know wellness, technology, and sustainability to be 3 of our pillars about what customers are most interested in right now. So we give you quick access to those. And then finally, you've got top trending terms in the last 7 days for your region. So I'm based in the US. The terms that you will see here are all around United States trends in the last 7 days. If I were coming from Brazil, these terms would be in Brazilian Portuguese, and you would be able to see what's trending in Brazil last 7 days. So I'll give you a quick overview of the page so you get a sense of the tool itself. What you'll see here is the search bar, and this is, again, grabbing from what you just entered on that landing page. And then we've got filters, where we can slice the data to answer some particular questions, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So you'll see here a chart for interest over time, interest by region, interest by industry, related search terms, what other people are searching, and then finally, the sexy bit, popular visuals
Oh,
related to
this is what we came
sustainability.
to see. Yeah.
And here we've got videos, images, or all in a mixed grid.
Great. And this is, I see you have the filters set to the last 30 days worldwide and all. So that is that imagery that we're seeing there. Are those actual downloads that customers are making, or is that just an example of the content we have on Getty under that search term?
Yeah, it's a great question. So those are actual downloads. So let's come back to those visuals for a minute. And we can talk about, pro tip, how to understand how to use this grid so that you can make some decisions. If I look at the last 1 year, these are the top downloads worldwide, all industries for the last year. So you can quickly get a sense of that trend, right? What are you seeing, Jennifer?
I'm seeing the color green, which, is very on trend.
So much green. People are telling stories about nature and using all different types of perspective here. So if we want to use these filters to answer those questions that we talked about earlier, how do I know what's on trend for my region or my industry? That's where you can start to play. And my pro tip is start with a year because you'll understand if this is a mature trend or if it's emerging. And then just start running through the different regions to understand how people are telling these stories about sustainability. Does Australia look the same as France? No.
Hmm.
Or Germany? No. Interesting. What we do with this is we can use this to decide, okay, in my region, do I want to follow the trend and use lots of green? Or do I potentially want to differentiate myself and innovate to find something else that feels more like my brand?
So to differentiate, let's speak a little bit to that. Um, we would you experiment with the filters? What kind of information can this tool give us overall?
Yeah, I mean, I think really it answers 3 key questions, right? So if we come back to the top of the page,
Mhm.
we're answering questions about, is this popular? right now. So last 7 days, there's a peak on the 6th and the 7th. Yes, sustainability is something we can talk about right now. Who's driving that trend in the last 7 days? Denmark. Why might that be? Is Denmark somewhere where I would be marketing to? Or potentially, if you're France, you can make a choice. Okay, there's not as much interest as other places in the last 7 days, but maybe I can insert myself into the conversation and change the conversation, innovate.
You're using the term
And then
interest. Can you expand on what you mean by that specifically?
absolutely. So the way that we use interest is that we index all of our searches and downloads on a scale from 0 to 100, and then we normalize to make sure that we're not over indexing in any region that has tons of searches. So it's really just a proxy for popularity. If something is 100 interest, it is peak popularity compared or relative to the other searches made in the time period. If something is 0, that's interesting. It's a piece of information that you can take and say, huh, no one's interested right now, but maybe I want to talk about this because my customers might be hearing so much about something else that this would stand out and I could cut through the noise.
Okay, so it's whether you are in line with the trends and in what is happening in your region or industry, or whether you want to stand out. Okay, so you've just shown us all this great sustainability content with the themes of green, windmills, landscapes. Can we try a new search term, something a little bit more people-centered maybe? How about family? That's one that is evergreen, that is um, always something that customers are looking for. Okay. And
Absolutely.
as you're searching, Candace, can you tell us, is this similar to the way a customer would search on Getty Images using keywords where you want to start broader rather than very specific?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one of my pro tips to start broad. What you'll see here as I've typed in family, you've got a bunch of different auto suggestions. And the way that
Hmm.
this is different than Getty Images auto suggest is that we're not validating against our search terms for our proprietary vocabulary. This is literally what users have typed in to search, and that's how we're measuring whether or not something will qualify for interest. So if we start broad, what we get is a quick overview of whether or not this is a mature trend or an emerging trend. So if the curve is relatively stable, which it is here, then this is a pretty mature trend, which we know to be the case with family. One of the great things about the tool is that we've got these little bubbles, these delightful bubbles. And these satellite terms actually on hover will show you the level of interest. So if I see family backyard, level of interest is relatively low, but let's see what the images look like. So now you see all of these, both videos and images of families playing outside.
And I do want to make an important point here while we're on these beautiful images, tying it back to premium access. If a user, or if you want to demonstrate for us, if you click into the actual image or the video clip, it's going to pull you over to that asset detail page, which is what you're used to seeing within your premium access subscription. So when you click into these results, there you go, you'll be able to see that interface, the premium access, the purple download button there, and just download directly through the Visual GPS Insights tool, basically.
One of the great things is that we can show the visuals in the tool and then we take you back out to the site which is familiar, and you'll see the same things that you see on your standard ADP because it is your standard ADP. You've got similar images. You can scroll through here to make some other choices, or you can choose to use that main ADP that you saw on that home page, just as you mentioned with the premium access download.
Perfect. All in one solution here. That's what we're offering.
That's right.
Um, there is another feature on the Visual GPS Insights tool that I think customers will really love, and that's the comparison tool. If we want to scroll back up and kind of demo that for our audience here. Um, something that's been in the news a lot lately is the term metaverse. I had to Google it, but it's something, it's very interesting. So, can we try metaverse versus real people?
Absolutely. And you'll see I'm starting broad for the last 1 year because I love this comparison. I've actually looked at this before and the data is super compelling. Okay, so what you see here is worldwide metaverse versus real people. We've now overlaid the two on this interest over time graph. And what you see is the orange line, which is metaverse, is showing pretty much no interest until about November when all of
Mhm.
a sudden Facebook changed their name to Meta and we had all that hullabaloo around what is meta and what is metaverse. So you see a steady incline, right, until a peak right after the new year when everyone was writing articles about the predictions for 2022. Clearly, metaverse is going to be important. So the other thing that I think is super interesting about this is if you look at real people, it's pretty flat. It's close to zero. Now, remember, this is a relative
Mhm.
measurement. So it's not that no one's interested in real people. It's just compared to metaverse, metaverse wins considerably by a landslide. But if we scroll down, what's super interesting here is that you can see how those how the interest for metaverse versus real people breaks down on hover on the map. So, I mean, at first glance, it's just all saturation of browns, which is basically telling me everyone's interested in metaverse. Nobody really cares about real people, with the exception of maybe United Kingdom and United States a little bit in the last year. If I continue to scroll down, again, like these related search term bubbles, super interesting. Real people, authenticity,
Mhm.
metaverse. I don't know, what's a multiverse? Hmm. We've got these two columns now, right? To just visually compare metaverse to real people. And it's striking. What do you notice?
Yeah. Well, I mean, on the left here, the metaverse, it looks very saturated, very futuristic, very like K-pop almost, or some sort of pop album cover.
This,
Yeah.
another pro tip, I really believe that the tool can be used just to tell stories in social media using something like this as a compare and
Mhm.
just talking about that stark difference, right?
Yeah, and it's really interesting. The graph that you showed, the interest graph, the comparison, real people, I would say, has become kind of an evergreen term that's been trending, the last few years. But seeing that compared to the skyrocketing of the metaverse is just really eye-opening. Well, this has been some great, great info. To kind of sum it up, what are the key points? What would you like users to take away from this presentation?
Yeah, I mean, I think the tool is really powerful to answer three questions. One, is something on trend right now? Two, is it relevant to my region? And if it's not, is that something that's unique and interesting that will help me differentiate?
Mm.
And three, is it relative to my industry? Is this what my peers are talking about? And will that help me make a difference with my audience? So we use the tool to spark creativity, find a new idea, and validate ideas with data. So if you have to prove to your CMO why you're picking the images you are, you've got a chart to show them.
Perfect. Thank you so much for this wealth of information, Candace. And we will be right back after this.
Hi, I'm Lizzie Day, Director of Customer Success, and I hope you're now as excited as we are about VisualGPS Insights and how it can help your business. I'm here to share 3 additional Getty Images resources that can help spark inspiration, drive stronger customer engagement, and optimize your workflow. Number 1, VisualGPS. As Jennifer touched on earlier, VisualGPS provides ongoing deep insight and unparalleled visual guidance to help you understand where customers are and where they're headed, so you can make an impact and drive your customers to action. The visual stories you tell will be more effective, drive deeper connections with your customers, inspire your target audience, and make your brand, service, and value proposition stand out. How, you ask? Our ongoing research and reporting combine the latest market surveys, proprietary search data, image testing, and the expertise of our visual analysts, bringing you the facts and insights that help you reach your customers in more meaningful ways. Go beyond trend predictions. Head over to visualgps.com to see the latest from our visual experts, links to the new VisualGPS Insights tool, and direct access to the collections of images, videos, and illustrations that drive results. Check it out today. Speaking of collections, you're just a click away from finding visual inspiration on our collections page, featuring the latest and greatest visual content Getty Images has to offer. Curated by our team of visual experts and art directors, these galleries show images and videos covering the most current concepts, from inclusive storytelling to modern families, business and industry to conceptual trends and beyond. Explore what's new, download with your premium access plan, and easily add to a board. What's a board, you ask? Want to set up an admin account? Need some tips on how to get the most from your premium access plan? Find the answers on all these questions and more in number 3, Park. If you're new to Premium Access or simply need a refresher, your next stop is the Premium Access Resource Centre for answers to all of your onboarding questions, everything from how to log in to creating boards to managing your downloads. Take a look. Simply visit gettyimages.com/park for all the tips, tricks, and step-by-step instructions on how to get the most from your plan. And that's all 3. Now, get your questions ready and stay tuned for our live Q&A coming up right after this.
For all too long, the journeys we've dreamt of and people we've missed seemed so far away. But now, adventure is calling. Once-in-a-lifetime experiences are within reach, and the time to be together has returned. This shoot by Thomas Barwick captures the joy of getting together and getting away, covering themes of reunion, healing, wellness, and exploration. This production focuses on the immersive experience of travel and deliberately draws on the colors, textures, natural elements, and quality of the light from this part of the world, and conveys contemporary travel concepts from Gen Z on a budget to sustainable travel to luxury destination weddings and beyond. The journeys we've dreamt of are finally here, and they're just getting started. See them all and get inspired at creativeinsights.gettyimages.com.
Now's the point in the program where we open the floor for all of your Visual GPS Insights, Premium Access, and Getty Images questions. We've received a few questions before we went on air today, and I do see a bunch streaming in, so we'll get to as many as we can. Candace is back to help answer them, and we have a whole Getty Images team behind the scenes in case we get stumped. Let's jump right in. All right, our first question here is from Ashley. Ashley asked, does the tool include editorial content, and may you provide an example? Word on the street is this is a timely question. I think there may have been some new developments on that front. Candace, I'm going to throw this one over to you. Can you walk us through Ashley's question?
Absolutely, Jennifer. So I am super excited to share my screen today and show you the new updates to Visual GPS Insights. We can now search for news, sport, and entertainment content. So I am going to do a quick search for John Lennon, who is in the news recently because apparently he will be performing virtually at Glastonbury next week.
I have
So
so many
you'll see
questions.
here we've
Yeah.
got Ditto. So you'll see here the data is coming in and is populating the charts and graphs. And if we scroll down to the bottom of the screen, we've got the most popular images in the last 30 days worldwide of John Lennon. And if we wanted to compare him to a contemporary of his, we can look at David Bowie. There we go. And here, there we go. We've got Ziggy Stardust right next to Sir John Lennon. And if we scroll up, we can look at the relative interest and how they compare. And there is a big peak on the 16th of June showing that David Bowie wins right now in the interest scale on our site.
It's really interesting, especially with editorial, to see how things from the past are trending now and comparing. Thanks for that, Candace. Let's see if we have some more questions coming in. Chris asked, may you explain what interest means again? Okay, Candace, you mentioned this in your previous presentation, so can you reiterate that for us?
Yeah, absolutely. Interest is just our way of measuring popularity relative to other searches that are happening in the platform. So in the example we just showed with John Lennon and David Bowie, there was a peak in interest for David Bowie around the 16th. So apparently there's a bunch of searches happening around that time relative to others. So 100 would be peak interest, 0 would be just not enough interest to qualify as a trend right now.
Cool. Thanks, Candace. Let's see. You guys keep those questions coming. You can, as a reminder, you can put them into the Q&A. Oh, here we go. Penelope says, are there any tools or guides that can help me search on the website? I can actually take this one because we recently did a download episode on searching. Candace, can I recruit you to pull up your screen share again? Thank you. So
Yep.
Penelope, if you scroll all the way down to the very bottom of the page, the footer of the website, where you'll see that beautiful purple color, over there, 2 columns from the right under tools and services, you'll see a search guide at the very bottom. Can you click into that link there, Candace? Thank you. So what this is, it's going to give you search tips for both creative and editorial because they're a little bit different when you're searching. It's also going to show you keywords, our newest keywords that we've added. You'll be able to click on a link that'll take you directly to those keywords in a search. Yeah, we're scrolling, so dizzy. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so a lot of these keywords we mentioned on a previous episode, these are our newest keywords. So things like generation alpha, like I don't know what that means, but I guess it's trending. It's a new keyword. So this is a great resource for you to use either as inspiration or just if you need tips in general. Thanks, Candace. All right, let's see if we got any other questions coming in. Hugo. Okay, Hugo says, how does the Visual GPS Insights connect or fit into my PA workflow? PA meaning Premium Access, of course, here on Premium Access Live. Candace, can I get you to share your screen with us again? Thank you.
Sure
So
thing.
yeah, it truly is meant to work all together. If you enter in a search term, let's do lifestyle is a good one. Kind of gives you a broad view of different people doing different activities. It's one of my favorites. So once you scroll down on the Visual GPS Insights data results, you'll get down to where we saw previously, where the actual imagery is, the good stuff, right? So this is all connected. If you click into any of those images, Candace, would you mind clicking in? If you click into any of these images, you will be able to download, to add to your boards. You see over there on the right-hand side, there's that familiar Premium Access download button that we all know and love. And then you can see down below the image, you can save. It's just that asset detail page that you're used to seeing within your subscription or even on an a la carte basis. So yeah, it is connected. You'll be able to go right to that page directly through the Visual GPS Insights search results. Thanks, Candace. Okay, we've got one from Rachel here. Is there a way to see popular visuals for a topic by region versus worldwide? Or are the filters at the top for time, frame, region, and industry also impacting the images? I think, yeah, this is a good question, Rachel. Candace, can you speak to that a little bit? I don't know if you want to share your screen for this one as well.
Sure, yeah, happy to share my screen. You'll see here I've done a quick search for technology. And I think the key to that question is to understand that these filters impact the entire page. So if I change any of these filters, it will update everything in real time. So you'll see the interest over time chart change, the interest by region changed. So two ways of answering that regional question. One, if we look at the last 1 year and we go to that interest by region section, you can see here a breakdown on a ranked scale of which regions were most interested in technology in the 1 year time frame. If I wanted to hone in a specific region, I can do that in this drop down. And let's say we'll look at, I'm going to look at US for now. So I changed that to the United States. Again, the charts all change and update. You now see that United States is pinned at the top with the interest. And I can scroll down to see images that were popular in the last 1 year, specifically for the United States. If I update this to say, sure, let's do Brazil. They change dynamically, right? And you can play with this all day. I do. But yeah, I think it's important to note that these menus or these filters drive all of the page data visualizations. Same goes for industry. If I wanted to hone in specifically on agencies worldwide, I'm now looking at the visuals that agencies have found most interesting in that 1 year time frame. And again, I can change this to 30 days and that will update dynamically. I hope that answers the question.
It answered it for me, and I see some comments coming in. We have one from AJ that says, "What an awesome tool to use." Thanks, AJ. We tend to agree. I think it's an amazing tool as well. You guys keep your questions coming in the Q&A section at the bottom of the page, and we'll get to as many as we can. And like I said, we're always able to answer any from when you email the download@gettyimages.com. Here's one from Amelia. Can you show me how the related terms or bubbles work again? Candace, this is something that you went over previously in your presentation with the search term bubbles. Can you pull that up and kind of walk us through that a little bit again?
Sure thing. So I have gone ahead and done a search for Joe Biden, last 1 year worldwide. And if I scroll down, I will see search terms related to Joe Biden. Now let's see if I can make it a little bit bigger so that we can see clearer. What you see here are these little satellite terms surrounding Joe Biden. Joe Biden has 100 interests in the time period. And you'll notice here that if I hover over the Trump bubble, the interest level is 25. So that's kind of interesting to note that people who searched for Joe Biden were also interested in Trump and Afghanistan and COVID and Kamala Harris. The cool thing about the tool is I'm just going to scroll out a little bit just so you can watch the change happen. If I now click on Trump, it will update all of the page results dynamically, and you'll see that the related terms have also changed to now show terms that people who searched for Trump also searched. And you'll notice also the regional interest has changed, the line graph has changed, and obviously the images will have changed. So the neat thing about the tool is you can quickly pivot between these little satellite bubbles to get information or an update to the imagery and the data viz.
In these satellite bubbles, Candace, are they part of the client is entering in both Joe Biden and Trump in one search?
It's sort of an aggregate understanding of people who search for Joe Biden also search
Mhm.
for Trump. So then when I've now landed on Trump, I can see people who search for Trump are also interested in 2024 Trump, rally, Biden, right? So the interest
Mhm.
score will let us know level of interest or the strength of the relationship, if you will, as well as how many people have searched for that.
Great, thank you. And I love the way it displays the different results. All right, guys, keep those questions coming in. Let's see, we have one from Robert here. Can we get more detailed with regional data? I do not see a way to get state or province data. So we know that we have the worldwide or by country. Can you speak to that a little bit, Candace? Is there a way to hone in and get it more specific by region?
So not yet. What we did with the first iteration of the tool was give customers a global snapshot to get a pulse on what the various regions are doing. And for global marketers, this is helpful because you can decide whether or not to target a particular region with a marketing message. We will include more granular data in a future iteration, but there's a little bit of work that goes into that. So I will just say that watch this space, and we absolutely are considering how to make that data granular at the state and city level.
I don't know what work you're talking about. This is all just Getty magic and pixie dust. Thanks for your question, Robert. Guys, keep them coming. Oh, here's one from Jacob. How do I sign up for Visual GPS Insights? I think I know the answer, but I'm going to throw that to you, Candace, just because you are our resident Visual GPS Insights expert.
Sure thing. So if you have an account with Getty Images, you automatically be able to use the tool. There is a link that I can actually show you if you'd like to see the screen
We love to see the screen.
right up
There we
here.
go.
Yeah, you'll see this Visual GPS Insights link. And if you are already logged in to gettyimages.com, when you click this, it will automatically take you to the tool. If you are not logged in, it will prompt you to do so, and you can just use the credentials that you use for gettyimages.com, your regular PA account. So no need to sign up unless you don't have an account with Getty Images. If you don't, feel free to contact your representative and get an account.
And yeah, I'm one of those representatives. Feel free to contact me. That is, I should mention, that's one of the best things about this tool is that it is free for Getty Images customers. So we're not just licensing imagery to you guys. There's a lot of research and resources that go into this data, and we are experts in the industry. So we want you to be able to take advantage of that as well. Let's see if we have any more questions coming in. You guys can keep them coming through that Q&A feature. Ben asked, why is this different than what's already out in the market for creative data? It's like a game show, but Candace, I'm going to give that one to you as well.
Yeah, happy to answer that. So I think the key difference here is that we have some of the world's or all of the world's best marketers on the Getty Images platform. So what you're seeing in this tool impacted or affected those marketers enough to take action, right? So what you have is essentially a curated set of popular visuals that your top 1,000, Fortune 1,000 and Fortune 500 companies have selected as moving, impactful visuals. I think that is the key differentiation for us.
Perfect. Thank you. Let's see what else we have coming in here. Keep them coming, guys. Anna says, "Oh, is there a link where I can access this presentation for colleagues who missed it?" I've actually been asked that when I was inviting clients to this, so this is obviously timely. Yes, it will appear on the Getty Images blog, but they're going to post the link. Our marketing team that's working behind the scenes will post the link into the chat. So just make note of that. And if for some reason you miss it, reach out to your Getty Images rep and we'll be able to direct you where this presentation will be housed on the website. All right. Massimo asks, how does Visual GPS Insights fit into my creative process or process for you Canadians? At what point should I engage it? Candace, I'm going to once again, you're the chosen answerer here. Can I ask you to answer that question?
For sure. So I think there are a couple of points at which you can engage the tool, Jennifer. There's first and foremost, if you have a campaign coming up and you need to understand a quick snapshot of what's popular right now, you can use the tool to spark ideas and creativity. Secondly, if you're a marketer that's planning for longer term, sort of a 6 months out, if you need to make a case to prove to your CMO or your leadership why you're choosing the creative that you are, you can use the charts and graphs in the tool to help build that case and validate your choices.
So the answer is anytime, really. Short answer.
Anytime.
Anytime's a good time for Visual GPS Insights. Let's see if we have any more questions. As a reminder, I know you've heard it before. Just drop them in the Q&A and we'll get to as many as we can, guys. Let's see. Brendan asked, can I see which images and videos others in my industry have searched or downloaded? Um, that's a great question, actually. Candace, can you answer that?
Sure thing. Yeah, I'll actually do a screen share for this because I think it's a good one
Okay.
to show. So I have selected the wellness inspiration pill and it has populated the tool. So again, as we mentioned earlier, but just to reinforce, the way to understand a trend is really, I like to zoom out to a year, and then I like to look at these drop down menus to see where something is trending and who's driving that trend in terms of industry. So if I come down to the visuals, I can show you worldwide what agencies have been searching for and downloading in the last year for all, this is a mixed grid, just images or videos. And these will update dynamically. I think one important point to note is that we won't show what your direct competition is doing, but we will show what your peers in your industry are doing in aggregate. And that's really just to protect everyone's privacy, to make sure that you're not seeing anything that you shouldn't be seeing, but you are getting a
Right.
sense of here's what my audience is learning from my peers.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't want your direct competitors seeing what you're downloading either, but but it's good to see the trends within the industry. Okay. Oh, Cynthia, a comment from the chat. Amazing. Well, thank you, Cynthia. Again, we think it's pretty amazing too. It's a great resource just to see, like Candace said, if you want to differentiate or if you want to kind of stay on trend. From the chat, what an awesome tool to use from Ashley. Thank you, Ashley. We agree. Let's see if we have any more questions coming in. Augustine asks, I noticed the industry list does not reflect my firm's industry. Are there plans to expand on this list? That's actually a really good question. There may be reasons why your industry is not showing up. Uh, Candace, can you tell us a little bit more about that and that kind of what data goes into that?
Sure thing. Yeah, so I think first thing to note is that those drop-down lists are filtered by where we'll see data. So if you don't
Mhm.
see your industry in that list right off the bat, it may be that there just wasn't interest for your industry in that time frame or region that you have filtered to. So try backing out of the filters and see if that changes to list your industry. The other thing to note is that the way that we get that industry data is based upon the registration information
Mhm.
from the customer. So if the customer is signing up with us and saying that they are in the financial industry, we now track that financial industry's behavior in aggregate. So we will pull that field from all of those customers in finance and reveal the data to you in the tool.
So my takeaway is make sure that you add your industry when when you're registering for your Getty Images account.
I love it. Yes.
All right, let's see here. Guys, keep those questions coming in. John just brought in a question. Does Getty Premium Access include music downloads? Well, I'm the premium access expert on this panel, so I'll take a stab at that one. The short answer is maybe. It depends on what kind of agreement you have. It's possible that you might already have music in your premium access agreement. If you're not sure, just reach out to your Getty Images rep, and we're always happy to take a look at that or add it in if it's not already in there. There's a lot of great features with music. You can clear the tracks directly through your account so that you don't run into any hiccups with licensing. You can download stems, lots of good stuff there. So just reach out because we can definitely include it within your plan if it is not already included in there. Good question, John. Uh, Anon, I think that's short for anonymous, maybe. What if I don't have premium access? Can I still use the tool? Candace, you might need to correct me on this. I believe that as long as you have a free Getty Images account, you're able to use the tool. Is that correct?
Correct. You're able to
Okay.
log in and have a look around the tool with any account.
Perfect. So even if you're an a la carte spender, you can use that Visual GPS Insights tool. Good question, though. I'm learning
Correct.
too. See if we have any more coming in. Guys, keep them rolling. Another Brendan. Let's see. Oh, this was a question we covered already, but yeah, Brendan asked, "Can I see which images and videos others in my industry have searched or downloaded?" Um, I believe we talked about direct competition, but as for industry, the short answer is yes, right, Candace?
That's correct. Yep.
Perfect. Yeah, just use that filter and you'll be able to see whatever your specific industry results are. Okay, Ezra asked, okay, this is kind of a big picture question. How does knowing what other people are searching globally, how how does knowing what other people are searching globally impact my work? I think you kind of touched on this before, Candace, but can you kind of reiterate how you can kind of wield that data?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think having a snapshot of what others in the world are doing gives you a sense of whether or not you want to lean into a particular trend and do what the majority are doing, or identify an influencer or a leader and potentially sort of change how you're talking to your customers based on what's an emerging trend someplace else. So, just having that understanding at a glance of how each different region is telling those stories will give you enough information and insights to make that informed decision about, oh, I'm just going to continue doing what I've been doing, or I wonder why this region is starting to tell different types of stories with different style and feel and look. Maybe I should try that and see how that resonates with my audience.
a good example, because it's so timely, that comes immediately to mind is when in the presentation, when you mentioned the metaverse, when we did the comparison, metaverse versus real people. And in the metaverse, we saw that it was super trending everywhere except for the US and the UK. So that kind of, what is the rest of the world doing? Maybe we should get on board here, and maybe this is going to be a trend coming to the US and the UK. That's my data
Absolutely.
analysis.
I love
All
it.
right,
It's right on.
let's see what else. Thank you. Natalia says this tool only shows searches made on Getty, or oh, she's asking does this tool only show searches made on Getty, or does it use other search engines to get more data? That's a great question. I don't know the answer. Do you know the answer to that one, Candace?
Yeah, so we're right now just using Getty Images platform data. So when you do a search, you're understanding what your peers and other global marketers are doing. One of the things that we have considered is potentially integrating other data to just provide some context. For example, when we saw that peak on David Bowie in the 16th of June, maybe we want to understand why, and potentially bringing in data from a third party source would give us more context. It's something that we're thinking about. It's in a longer term roadmap, but again, watch this space.
I'm definitely going to be entering a search on David Bowie in June 16th after we get off of the presentation, because I'm very curious now also about that virtual performance by Sir John Lennon. All right, let's see if we have any more questions coming in. Matthew asks, does the tool work with vector graphics as well? I don't know the answer to that one. Is it just for photos and illustrations, or does it apply to vectors as well, Candace?
Photos and illustrations for now. If there is a very popular vector, it may appear in those images section of the grid, but I will have a look after this call and see what I find.
Perfect. Thanks, Candace. Let's see. Keep those questions coming, guys, if you have any. AJ asks, does Visual GPS Insights work for video? I know the answer to that one. It's yes. Is that correct, Candace?
It is yes, yeah. So I can quickly show you the grid if you'd like. When
Sure.
we do a search, I'll do a quick. I like technology. I'll do a quick search for technology, and I will show you the grid just to be sure that we see it. Okay, so here's my grid. And again, we've got the buttons for all, which is a mixed grid of anything that is a photo, an illustration, or a video. If I just click on videos, you will see these are the popular visuals related to technology in the last 30 days. And I've got hover state preview. And this will also show, as I modify my filters, it will show me how that changes for video specifically once I hit the button. Yeah. So what's interesting is this will actually give you a sense of which regions are using more video than others. Again, this is last 30 days. So certainly if I changed it to last 1 year, that will bring up more content.
Yeah, and it's a great question, and as a reminder, if you don't have video in your premium access agreement, we can certainly add that. So just reach out to your Getty Images rep. Obviously, it drives engagement. It's visually stimulating. So just reach out to us, and we're happy to talk to you about how to add that into your premium access subscription. Okay, I think this is the last question here. Franz asks, does it show total downloads for any given image? It would help me avoid images that have been overused by my industry. Okay, so he's asking, do we have the quantity of downloads by image or by video? Candace, do you know the answer to that one?
I do know the answer. So we don't actually have a count on the assets, for usage. But one of the ways that you can use the tool is to just get an understanding of a trend visually. And then once you click into an asset detail page, you can see the related images, you can see similar images and pivot from there. So really what the tool is doing is giving you a snapshot of a stylistic trend or whether something has people or no people, those kinds of things. But if you want to avoid using something that your industry is using too much of, you can do one of two things. One, you can do, as I described, just use the similar images on the asset detail page. Or two, you can decide to change your industry in that dropdown and see how other industries are telling the story. And therefore, it may be popular in a different industry, but not overused in yours, so it's fresh to your audience.
Thanks, Candace. So that is the last question, and it's perfect timing because we're about out of time anyway. Answers to any questions we didn't get to today will be posted to our show page later this week. I want to give a special thanks again to Candace and to Lizzie for being on today's show and for all your expertise. Thank you. And thank you for joining us on Premium Access Live. We'll be back next quarter with more tips, tricks, and answers to your questions. As a reminder, you can catch all past episodes of the Download and Premium Access Live on demand on our events page. As always, if you have questions about your Premium Access subscription, contact your Getty Images representative or email us at thedownload@gettyimages.com. Thank you once again for being a Getty Images customer. We truly appreciate your business. I've been your host, Jennifer Kelly, and we'll see you next time.